We're set for tonight's main event. Zab Judh and David Sample squaring off in a 10-round junior welterweight bout. Zab Judh, very talented young man, fighting for the second year in a row here in Hyannis. Last July the 12th, second round knockout of Otilio Villarreal. As we take a look at tonight's main event, Zab Judh is a man who, for one thing is certain, lacks not in confidence.
The people start to see, who the best is, and even without a title, Zab Judh is known as one of the best fighters in the world. I look at the magazines, I have to talk. I mean, they're already comparing me with all world championship fighters already. I want to be like Roy Jones and Whitaker and Ali and Tyson all in one. So just imagine how big that is. Too big for boxing.
21-year-old Zab Judh does not lack in confidence, and he has a sterling record to back it up. Judh first won a USBA title in June of 1998 here on the Deuce when he took out Mickey Ward in 12 rounds. Judh ascended to the #1 ranking in the IBF earlier this year with a 4th-round stoppage of Wilfredo Negron. And here on Friday Night Fights back in April, he knocked out Juan Torres in 1 round. The ultra-confident Judh realizes that a world championship shot is not far away, but he must remain focused.
Once I win the IBF, I'm mandatory. I want to unify the titles as soon as possible, Knock off Eteramale, knock out Sean Boy Mitchell, and whoever else is there. Costa Zoo, knock him out too. It don't matter.
But first, Judh has to get past David Sample, who gives a sampling of Judah's own style. Sample has quick hands in the ring. He took on Pito Cardona back in 1997 and lost a tough 10-round decision. But Sample understands that styles make fights.
He's a good fighter, so I take nothing away from him, but he's never fought a fighter with the capabilities that I have. In a sense, it'd be him looking at a mirror image of himself, because he's never fought no one elusive, slick, can hit him with the jab, keep the jab on him, counter punch him, everything. So, he's gonna be in a real fight.
I trained with the best in the world for years, Pernell Whitaker, and he's a southpaw, and you don't get no better than that. So, for me worrying about David Sample, I'm not thinking about him. I'm gonna cut the ring off and chop him down like a tree. That's it.
That is tonight's main event. Zab Judh and David Sample. Should be a very interesting matchup. To take a closer look, we take you inside the world of Teddy Atlas.
When you think of Zab Judh, you think of speed, speed, and more speed. In this instance, most guys would be too far away to throw punches, but because of his speed, Zab is able to jump in and land when his opponent does not expect it. It is speed comparable to Roy Jones Jr. And because of his speed, he gets away with breaking the rules by jumping in. But some days, someone just might time him and land a solid punch. Might tonight be the night? Judh likes his shoe shine or flurry fast to the body, but he drops his hands to do it instead of bending. And if you punch with him, you can catch him. For the veteran southpaw David Sample, if he is to inflict the first loss on Judh, he must not lean forward when he is on the ropes. Zab is simply too good and quick and can set up Sample with the uppercut. Additionally, for Sample to have any chance against Judh, he must use his legs. Here he throws a nice combination, then uses his legs to get out, then stops and pops another combination. Seems simple, right? But it won't be for Sample.
Those are some of the things to look for in tonight's main event. David Sample, 30 years of age, born in Philadelphia, now fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. 26-5-1 with 10 knockouts, has never been knocked out. 21-year-old Zab Judh, born in Brooklyn, 5'7", 143 pounds. He's 21 years of age, 20-0 with 15 knockouts, 4 straight knockout wins. The referee is Ed Fitzgerald. And let's take a look at the unified rules for tonight's main event between Zab Judh and David Sample. No 3 knockdown rule, no standing 8 count. Fighter cannot be saved with the bell in any round. Only the referee can stop it. Accidental cuts, as you well know, go to the scorecards after 4 rounds are complete. We have used the rules this evening. Zab Judh, we saw him here on Friday Night Fights on April the 16th in Tunica, Mississippi. First round knockout of Juan Torres. And He is the mandatory #1 by the IBF. Teron Millette holds the title. Judah should get a shot before November the 20th. And David Sample has lost to Pito Cardona, Kenny Bazemore, Miguel Angel Gonzalez. He says of all his losses, he feels the Gonzalez fight was a fight he genuinely lost. I talked to several people who were in Florida for that November '97 fight against Pito Cardona, and although Sample lost a unanimous decision, there were several that I spoke with that said you could have made the case for Sample being a winner that night. He fought well.
Of course, Cardona's a good puncher, but does not have the abilities or the speed, I should say, of a Zab Judh. And of course, Zab Judh is really a junior welterweight, only 21 years old, still filling out, been a junior welterweight his whole career, 140 pounds. And of course, David Sample, most of his career, 25 of 32 fights, he's fought at 136 pounds or less. He's really a lightweight.
See the knockout ratio for the two, and Judah has shown some power. As I mentioned, he has knocked out his last four of his last 5. Had an impressive stoppage in October of last year against Darrell Tyson, stopping him in the 11th round to defend his USBA junior welterweight title. And down goes Sample.
Well, Judah's always been a fast starter. I'm sure he didn't expect to catch him quite like that, but he was able to catch him with his hands down, going back. It's a no-no, especially when you're in front of a guy with fast hands like Judah. Judah, you would think, would want to jump on him because this could be a fight if Sample gets some rounds under his belt where he could use his legs and make it a little difficult. So you know Judah wants to get rid of him.
Down goes Sample again. Remember, this is a guy that's never been stopped.
That's right. This is a solid guy.
Remember, there is no 3 knockdown rule. And the people in the Judah camp, the main events people, Carl Moretti and such, said, you know, we'd like to see Judah get some rounds.
Oh, Judah knows.
And Sample is in trouble. He's trying to hold on, and Sample is holding on. The referee thinking about stopping the fight does not.
Well, Judah does have 8 first-round knockouts, so this isn't new to him. But what is new is doing it with this quality of a guy.
You can call that a knockdown. If a fighter gets knocked into the ropes, there is no standing 8 count. Sample's down again. And now Judah jumps in, and the referee throws him away.
He's got to watch there. He got a little over anxious.
Sample's gone. Sample's gone. That's it.
Yeah, the fight's over. Nobody could have expected this. You can't knock this fight. This is a guy who's a solid guy. Nobody expected a real tricky guy. Nobody expected this kind of stoppage. And Judah, once he saw he had him in that shape, he knew that this could turn out to be a difficult fight. So what did he do? He did what he should have done. He stayed right on the guy.
Listen, you don't need, the people watching don't need me or you to tell you that this guy is for real. There's no kidding about Zab Judh and his ability. You know, people have made the references to the speed and the southpaw style of Pernell Whitaker and so on and so forth. But at this stage in his career, he's got a lot more pop in his gloves than Whitaker had. He's got the power, too.
Yeah, Whitaker, I think, was an underrated puncher. When he sat down, he could punch a little bit. But this guy, he does 2 things. When he wants to throw fast punches, he throws fast punches. When he wants to sit down, he throws power punches, too. This is a guy who can seem so that he can do it all, and he's technically solid. He's well taught by his father, Yoel, and, of course, by Ronnie Shields and the Dubas, who promote him. And Ronnie Shields, of course, fought for a world title at junior welterweight one time. He's training him, along with, of course, his father, Yoel Judah, who did the work early on.
They felt that Sample would give Judah rounds. He's only had 5 rounds this year in his 2 fights. He's knocking people out easily. And they said, hey, Sample's never been knocked out. He's slick. He's fast. Zab's going to get a workout in here tonight. He's going to be tested. He's going to have to work. He's going to have to try to find out ways. Well, that man, David Sample, has been stopped for the first time in his career. We're going to take a look at that sequence and the impressive display of Zab Judh.
Well, first of all, he's using his jab, which is important with a guy who's moving around. And then he sets up that left hand off the jab and the fast hands.
In slow motion, it's fast.
Very fast hands. And you know one thing, you know Sample's a pretty quick guy. He did not expect that punch to come that quickly. And one thing to the credit of Judah, he jumped right on this guy because he knew that it could be a difficult fight. He prepared for a difficult fight. There he gets right on his man. He's using that jab to set up the left hand. You can see he's stalking his man, and he catches his man stepping back. He knows when the guy's stepping back, he's defenseless. He knows he can't punch. So what does he do? He chucks something at him.
Something we were going to illustrate, but we didn't have time. Sample took 2 steps back, not 1, right?
That's right, Bob. We were going to go over that, but we just didn't have time to illustrate that. You go back 1 step, you get away with it. 2, the guy follows up, you're still in the track. You're still in the path of the train. And it's going to run you over.
Now, that was ruled a knockdown right there, and rightfully so by referee Ed Fitzgerald, because the ropes held Sample up. And when they do that, when a fighter gets hit, and another count being given. Sample's okay at this point. He's rocked a little bit, but he's okay right now. But here comes Judh, and I mean, man, so fast.
He's coming in behind that jab again and again. He blinds the guy with the jab. He never sees the left hand. That was a late punch. That's what I was alluding to earlier. He's got to be careful with that over-anxiousness. You don't want to get disqualified.
And he was waiting for the referee to step in. He didn't at that moment, but Zab Judh, the 21-year-old, 21-0, 16 knockouts, 5 straight knockout wins, ranked #1 by the IBF. We'll talk with Zab, but first here's Brian and Matt.
Wow. Wow. It was like 1 shot right there. And then down goes Sample came in to fight. You could see he was there. He's ready to go the whole night. Just not up to it. You wonder who's up to it.
This is what this is what I was expecting tonight. And I mean, look, in the words of the late great notorious B.I.G. is.
And in part by Western Union Money Transfer, the fastest way to send money worldwide. And by Just for Men. Just for Men blends away gray hair in 5 minutes. Looks so natural, no one can tell. Well, no one looked more natural tonight than Zab Judh as he dispatches of David Sample in round #1 in a spectacular display, taking out a guy who had never been knocked out in his career. And Zab joins us right now, and just a perfect performance on your part. How would you rate it?
I mean, first of all, I want to thank God for giving me this beautiful win. And I just want to say, you know, I had a great training camp, and we worked real hard at training camp. And David Sample was a great opponent, but my manager Lou Duva got bad knees, so I couldn't keep him going up and down the stairs all night. So we had to end it quick, you know, Brooklyn style. You know.
Teddy?
That story sounds like the story from Joe Louis, when one time his trainer, Chappie Blackburn, said, "Hey, I don't feel too good, Joe." And Joe Louis said, "You only have to come up the steps once, Chappie."
That's it, baby. I mean, you know, we're looking to make big statements in boxing game, you know, and this one right here was a great one. This kid, David Sample, never knocked out before, and now we're looking for Shea Mosley. Don't go to 47. I got a great fight for you at 140. I'm going to end it all, baby, and the rest of y'all who want it, bring it.
All kidding aside, you couldn't have expected this. You were preparing for a guy who's a wily, a veteran, a southpaw guy who used his legs, cut the ring down. You couldn't have expected to get him out this quick.
Well, I mean, it's like, nah, I was prepared for 10 rounds of boxing tonight. And me being in my great condition out in Vero Beach, I mean, it's like it's the desert out there, so I had nothing to do but untrain. So I came in this fight at my best condition, and when Zab Judh's at his best, these guys got problems, man.
How many times has your father told you, and Ronnie Shields and Lou Duva told you, to be great, you're going to have to show, we know you have power, we know you have speed, you're going to have to be a great finisher. Was that on your mind tonight?
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Lou and my dad told me, it's not how you win no more, Zab. No, it's not if you win, it's how you win now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't just go in there and win no more. You got to look spectacular. And that's what Zab is going to do, to show everybody that I'm in the big league with the big boys. Bring them on.
You want Millette or Mosley?
Mosley, Millette, and Sean Bay all in the same night, if it's possible.
Lou, how do you get this guy some rounds just to get him some work?
I'll tell you, this guy's getting better and better. I mean, I was really enthused when I had Pernell Whitaker at the beginning, you know. But this kid here, I mean, he's just phenomenal. I mean, he can do anything he wants in that ring. But especially, I want to calm him down just a little bit more. But he's going to be better. I don't think there's a junior welterweight or a welterweight out there that can fight this guy.
Nobody.
This
Ain't nobody out there, baby. Bring him on. Bring him on. Bring him on. HBO, show anybody. Let's get it on. I said we'll fight world title fight here on ESPN too. Shea Mosley.
What's Pernell Whitaker saying right now?
I hope he's happy, jumping up and down. And Pete, I did it, baby. Yeah, you know how I do.
Zab Judh takes care of David Sample in round #1. Lou Duva in main events once had a fighter named The Real Deal, Evander Holyfield. Well, they have a new real deal heading into the next millennium. Zab Judh, spectacular and winning tonight. More after this timeout.
A little.
Unbeatable, whether they work the night shift or shock the world.